What's going on, everybody? I'm Kevin from Cigar Prop, and it is another Tech Tip Sunday powered by Monster Energy Rehab. And no, I haven't tried their new green one. I think it's a green tea rehab. I haven't been able to find it locally yet, so I'm on my hunt. Monster, if you want to send me a case. Jessica was just out here a few minutes ago, and she's getting ready to head up to the food store. And I used to say grocery store. She's from New Jersey, so now she says food store. She's got me saying food store. But she asked me what my tech tip was going to be about. And I told her, I said, I don't know. She's like, really? And I go, yeah, I really don't know what these are going to be about until moments before I hit record. There are things that happen to me during the week, and I try and make a mental note. Hey, talk about this week. But this week was pretty light for me. Not a lot of tech tip worthy things of note, except one thing. So, and I posted this. So, some people may know that my co-host of the I Tap That Cigar Show, Kevin Shahan, we've started a new podcast, and it's a new YouTube channel. It's called the Puff and Ponder Podcast, where conversations ignite. Right now, we don't have guests on. We're only doing sporadic shows. Starting the first of the year, we're going to do more. We're going to do a weekly show. And so within that Puff and Ponder channel, I have started a playlist called The Diaries of a Mad Mechanic. And I want to get into posting. I'm going to try and get posting every day of just things that happen to me during the day at work or at life. And that way it's kind of like a little, it's therapy for me. So where all of this is going 2 minutes later is a video, my first video that I posted this week. And I had calling up a young lady on the phone and telling her what she needs for her car and trying to explain tires. I told her, I said, she came in for one thing, and I'm like, hey, upon my inspection, I told you I would go over the whole vehicle with our complete vehicle inspection. I saw that you recently had 2 tires replaced somewhere else. I could tell because they were at 10:30 seconds. And I'm like, my nose is running this morning. And your fronts, you have one at 4:30 seconds, one at 5:30 seconds. And I already was explaining a couple of other things to her. Tires was the last thing. I left that out for whatever. You'll find out in a second. And then, so I just kept chatting with her. And then she finally interrupted me. She goes, Kevin, I like you. You seem to know what you're talking about. And I go, she paused and go, I'm a mechanic. Been doing this for a long time. Yes. And she goes, you need to dumb it down for me. I'm going to tell you, this is the point of the conversation where I usually interrupt the salesman. That's what she's saying. And I say, listen, please just write everything down. I'll let my husband know, and then he'll decide what needs to be done. And she said, and that's when I come pick up my car. I get that paperwork. I usually put it in my glove box, and I completely forget all about it. I never give it to my husband. There's something will break, and he'll find the paperwork and say, hey, this was recommended to you. Why didn't you get it done? And so she went on and on about this whole thing. And she goes, and then once she reiterated, she goes, I really like you. I'm going to need to see if you can dumb this down for me so I understand what's going on with my car. So I started over with everything and explaining, try to dumb it down on the tires. I said, you have an all-wheel drive vehicle. That means all 4 tires are basically your drive tires. She goes, that much I understand. I go, all right, so every manufacturer gives a tolerance of how tall the tires need to be. Right now, your back tires, even though they're all the same size, your back tires are taller than your front tires. There's a thing in your car called a transfer case. You don't need to know what it does, but to dumb it down, it makes your vehicle all-wheel drive. It's a big fancy thing that's going to break if 2 tires are smaller than the other 2, and it's thousands and thousands of dollars to repair. She goes, I completely understand that. Put on 4 tires. I go, whoa, you don't need 4 tires. You just need 2 tires because you just had the 2 replaced. And she goes, yeah, but I want them all to match. And I go, why? So you can take it to the car show this weekend, your Chevy Equinox, and show everybody your 4 new tires. She just laughed and she goes, well, I'd really kind of like them to match. And I go, it's $1,200 for 4 tires, or it's half of that for 2 tires. She goes, ooh, just do the 2. Yes, that's what I thought. Because that's what I would do. So the tech tip is there's no shame into asking for someone to dumb it down. There are industries that I don't know about. And I have to ask them, listen, you're going to have to dumb it down. If it's a friend of mine, if it's someone I don't know, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm like, yeah, that's, and then I'm Googling it later. What the hell is he talking about? Because I'll secretly send text messages to Jessica, like in a lull of a conversation. And she knows when she gets a random weird text, she doesn't respond. She just knows that's for me later on, and then I will Google it. But when it comes to your car, we've talked about this before a little bit. So I'm gonna get back into it. There are technicians, there are salesmen that overly complicate the little tiny things to make them sound more important than they really are. So one thing that you can ask is, if I don't do this, what's going to happen to my car? Like, they'll tell you, like, they'll talk about your cabin air filter. And if you follow me on Facebook, you've seen some of the ones I've posted, absolutely clogged. Some of them are just dirty, like your air conditioning filter in your house. They've just got some dirt on there. They need to be replaced. But they'll be like, well, it will affect this, the airflow. You've got germs, whatever. And then if you'll ask, hey, what happens if I don't fix this? And their answer should be, nothing. Just some dirty air filter. All right, then. There's been a couple I showed on Facebook. I'm like, I can't believe the blower motor hasn't broken already. Eventually, it's going to stop working. So if you can't afford to replace the cabin air filter, I understand that. Let me not put it back in. Not putting it back in is going to do a lot better than having this dirty one in there. So ask them to dumb it down. Ask the salesman, the technician, what's going to happen if I don't do this? And like I said, I've said it before. I've said it in a couple of videos. If they're talking, trying to sell, that should be raising some warning signs that they're either overselling. Maybe you don't need what's going on with your car. Maybe it's not that dire. But please, 2 things: tell them to please dumb it down for you. And if you can't afford it, say I can't afford it. Don't tell us, I'm going to have to go over this with my husband. Tell us, say, hey, I can't afford this. I need to prioritize these repairs. Is there something that we can leave off for an oil change or 2? And then what needs to be done that's a safety priority? And if you have a list of things, there's always going to be things on that list like, well, if you don't do this for a year, like CD axles, had some that are leaking a little tiny bit of grease, not even a fingernail full of grease. And people ask, well, what happens if I don't do it? I tell you, I go, nothing. It'll probably stay like this for a year. You asked me to inspect your vehicle. I found this leaking. Manufacturer says it shouldn't be leaking. I have to cover my ass. I have to present this to you. If it was my vehicle, no, I wouldn't do it. Especially if I was strapped with for cash. We'll take a look at it at your next oil change and we'll reevaluate. So I don't know. Hopefully this one, I feel like I phoned this one in. Puff and Ponder podcast on YouTube and Rumble. I don't think it's on Rumble yet. So on YouTube, check me out, check us out, check me out. Diaries of a Mad Mechanic. And let me get back. I think I'm just about out. This definitely feels like a 2 rehab Sunday. So, all right, cats and kittens, we'll catch you next week.